For more than 3,000 years, one face has endured while the woman behind it was slowly erased from history, leaving scholars to question how a queen so visible in art could vanish so completely from official records during the height of her power. Nefertiti lived during one of the most turbulent moments in Egyptian history, when religion, royal authority, and political tradition were being radically reshaped, placing her not at the margins of power, but directly at its center. Unlike queens before her, Nefertiti appears repeatedly beside Pharaoh Akhenaten as an equal figure, sharing ritual gestures, divine symbolism, and visual authority that had traditionally been reserved exclusively for kings. In temple carvings, Nefertiti performs acts once reserved for male rulers, striking enemies and protecting the land, using imagery that communicated legitimacy, authority, and command to both Egypt's elite and foreign observers. Then, without announcement or explanation, references to Nefertiti begin to fade from written records, creating a silence that suggests not weakness or failure, but a deliberate political decision made during a fragile transition of power. After the death of Akhenaten, Egypt entered a moment of extreme uncertainty, where religious reform, political stability, and royal succession were all in question. And it was precisely during this fragile period that Nefertiti's presence in official inscriptions began to diminish rather than conclude openly. Unlike many rulers whose disappearance was marked by violence or collapse, Nefertiti's fading from the record appears controlled and deliberate, suggesting a political choice to reshape memory rather than erase it through destruction. Some scholars propose that Nefertiti did not disappear at all, but continued to rule under a different royal name, a transformation that would have preserved continuity while allowing Egypt to quietly retreat from the religious upheaval she helped shape. The absence of direct evidence has transformed silence itself into historical sources, forcing modern researchers to read gaps, alterations, and omissions as intentional signals rather than simple losses of information. Today, Nefertiti remains not simply a symbol of beauty, but a reminder that history often conceals its most influential figures behind silence, intention, and carefully managed memory, rather than dramatic collapse. To understand why Nefertiti could vanish without chaos, it is necessary to understand how power functioned in ancient Egypt, where continuity of order mattered more than individual identity, and where stability was often preserved by quietly reshaping authority rather than confronting it openly. Egyptian kingship was not merely political leadership, but a cosmic role tied to balance, order, and divine harmony, meaning that removing a ruler abruptly could threaten the stability of the entire world as it was understood. If Nefertiti continued under another name, such a transformation would not have been seen as deception, but as a sacred adjustment intended to protect order while allowing ideology to shift without public disruption. After this period, Egypt systematically dismantled the religious reforms associated with Akhenaten's reign, suggesting that the memory of that era, including Nefertiti herself, required careful management rather than open condemnation. What survived this careful erasure was beauty without explanation, an image separated from its historical context, allowing later generations to admire Nefertiti's face while remaining unaware of the authority and disruption she once embodied. When Nefertiti's image re-emerged in the modern era, it did so without explanation, forcing historians to confront how much of ancient history survives not through records, but through fragments shaped by political choice, cultural fear, and deliberate silence rather than simple loss. Modern researchers now read absence as carefully as presence, studying damaged names, altered reliefs, and missing titles as intentional signals left behind by those who shaped Egypt's official memory after her reign. Nefertiti's story ultimately challenges the way history is told, reminding us that power does not always announce its end with violence or collapse, but can fade deliberately, leaving behind beauty while concealing influence. Nefertiti's story ultimately challenges the way history is told, reminding us that power does not always announce its end with violence or collapse, but can fade deliberately, leaving behind beauty while concealing influence. In the end, Nefertiti remains not merely an icon of beauty, but a lesson in how history chooses what to remember, what to hide, and how silence itself can become one of the most powerful tools of control. Long before her disappearance, Nefertiti had already crossed boundaries that few women in the ancient world were ever permitted to approach, exercising visible authority in religion, diplomacy, and state ideology in ways that quietly redefined the limits of queenship itself. In official art, she was shown performing rituals that symbolized cosmic balance, placing her not only beside the king, but within the sacred machinery that sustained the universe according to Egyptian belief. Such representation was never accidental, because in ancient Egypt, images were declarations of reality, intended to show not what might be, but what was already accepted within the structure of power. When these images later survived, while her name did not, they created a historical imbalance, leaving modern viewers with certainty of power, but uncertainty of identity. It is within this imbalance that Nefertiti's true legacy may reside, not as a mystery waiting for discovery, but as evidence of how power can be exercised, preserved, and ultimately hidden through careful control of memory. The careful treatment of Nefertiti's memory suggests that those who followed her reign understood the danger of visible precedent, recognizing that openly acknowledging her authority could challenge long-standing hierarchies that depended on controlled succession and male continuity. In later generations, Egypt emphasized restoration and tradition, quietly reinforcing the idea that the Amarna period was an anomaly, while allowing selective images of Nefertiti to remain as art, stripped of political meaning. This separation of beauty from authority allowed future societies to admire Nefertiti safely, transforming a once powerful ruler into an aesthetic symbol rather than a political reference point. Yet beneath this polished image remains the trace of a woman who exercised influence at a scale rarely permitted, whose quiet removal speaks less about her failure and more about the limits imposed on power itself. Nefertiti's legacy ultimately challenges modern assumptions about leadership and memory, reminding us that history is not only written by victors, but shaped by those who decide what must quietly disappear in order for stability to endure.
On December 6, 1912, in the ruins of Amarna, archaeologists entered a sculptor's workshop and found a queen's face lying in dust. Not in a temple, not in a tomb, but among tools, pigments, and unfinished stone.
The setting mattered. This was not a public monument, it was a studio object, the kind of masterpiece that teaches other artists how to build a living face. Limestone core, layered stucco, and paint so precise it still reads like skin after 3 millennia.
And then there is the detail everyone remembers. One eye finished, the other left blank. Not a wound, an unanswered choice. A studio piece caught mid-process, frozen between craft and completion. After the excavation came the moment that would define the next century, the division of finds. A bureaucratic meeting, a signature, a crate, and a queen's face began a second life far from the Nile. Decades later, modern imaging turned the sculpture into evidence. CT scans revealed the hidden engineering, a rough limestone core beneath refined layers, showing how ancient artists literally built perfection on top of imperfection. Even the colors are a message. The blues, reds, and skin tones weren't decoration. They were technology. Mineral pigments, binders, and careful layering designed to survive light, time, and attention. Once displayed in the modern world, the bust stopped being just an artifact. It became a global icon, copied, photographed, argued over. Proof that an image can outgrow its origin and start living as a symbol. And with fame came a new battlefield: ownership. The question is no longer only who was she, but where should she be? Because museums don't just store objects, they store national pride, tourism, and power.
The irony is that the argument often comes down to physics: stucco, pigment, microcracks, vibration, temperature. A face preserved by stillness becomes a face defended by stillness.
Now she has a second kind of immortality: digital. Scans, replicas, models, copies that travel where the original cannot, multiplying the face while the real sculpture stays motionless, guarded, and contested.
In the end, the face survives because it is incomplete, not frozen as a final statement, but suspended, open to projection, argument, and belief. A ruler turned into a surface onto which every era writes its own meaning. Removed from biography, the image became universal. No dates to argue with, no ending to dispute, only presence. And presence, once detached from explanation, can outlive truth itself.
This is why the debate never ends. The object is stable, but the meaning is not. Every generation returns to the same face, asking new questions about power, memory, and who decides what is allowed to endure.
History reaches its limit here. Documents stop. Names stop. Certainty stops. What remains is interpretation, and interpretation is where myth begins to grow. And where history falls silent, something else moves in. Stories that do not ask for evidence, only attention. Some claim the bust was never meant to be seen, that it was hidden not to protect it, but to contain it.
A face unfinished, they say, cannot rest and carries with it the instability of something interrupted. Others fixate on the missing eye, not damage, but refusal, as if the sculpture was designed to see only one world, the one it was never meant to leave. Visitors report the same unsettling impression. The face looks different each time, colder, sharper, almost responsive. Science calls it perception, myth calls it recognition. Ancient belief held that names sustained the soul. To erase a name was to trap a spirit between worlds. Some suggest the silence around her was not political, but ritual. One legend claims she never departed history at all, that her image became her vessel, waiting, watching, preserved not as memory, but as presence.
In this way, she becomes something older than history and newer than fact, a modern myth born not from belief, but from absence. In this way, she becomes something older than history and newer than fact, a modern myth born not from belief, but from absence.
Because some stories are not buried, they are placed in plain sight and left unfinished on purpose.